If you don't agree with AA ideology, you clearly have a mental problem, according to this person right here. So this comment says, "Lady, you got some serious issues. You might be sober, but you still got a lot of mental problems. If you don't like AA, just don't go. It does a lot of people good. It does a lot of good for a lot of people who like, what does the rest of it say? Who like to do it. You probably think the hiking club in your neighborhood is a cult too." Okay, so you know what the serious issue is? The serious issue is the harm inherent inside Alcoholics Anonymous ideology. It is inherently harmful. I'm not talking about a bad experience, a bad person, or some trauma or drama specific to an individual. I'm talking about the entire ideology is harmful in and of itself. From my perspective, and I'm just a random person on the internet, from my perspective, it is harmful, period, no matter how it is practiced, because the principles embedded within it are harmful. Now, when it comes to cults, there's the true believers that are in the center of the cult, and then people are on more of the periphery. So if you're not fully indoctrinated, you're not getting fully harmed by it. And there's going to be different levels of this, obviously. But talking about harm is not the harm. This is like the biggest thing that I see in my comments. People who are inside the AA ideology, they believe that it's true. It's like, bro, you realize there's people who don't agree with you. You're not the only person in the world. Your worldview is like literally not the truth and not the only worldview. Other views exist besides yours. What you're believing is ideas, not facts. But when you're in the AA ideology, like in all seriousness, the ideas presented are indoctrinated into us as if they are facts. So we start to believe that AA is true without investigating. So you know how AA says contempt prior to investigation? It's like belief prior to investigation. And it's only when a lot of us leave AA and begin our deprogramming journey to get the brainwashing out of our head, because we realize that it's harmful, that we understand that we were believing in AA prior to investigating if it was actually true. We weren't thinking about, what does modern medical science say? What do other recovery programs have to say? Is this actually a religion? Is it actually a cult? What do the cult checklists say? What is like the qualifications for a religion? Is our group harmful? So I think a lot of people in AA aren't actually looking at if AA is harmful. So when they hear me talking about the harms in AA, they project all sorts of stuff onto me. It's called, and this was like my favorite word of last week, ad hominem. Ad hominem. Y'all know what ad hominem is? It's when you attack the individual, not the argument being made. So instead of addressing the argument being made, in this case, I'm generally speaking about the harm in AA ideology to help people deprogram from it, because it's very, very difficult to leave AA. So this comment here about I have a lot of mental problems, you know what? The truth is, when I was leaving AA, I had a lot of mental problems because my mind had been controlled by an ideology that I realized was not true, but it was still ruling my thoughts. I had a lot of cognitive dissonance because they said to leave is to die, but I left. So I'm like, am I going to die? Am I going to relapse? Am I going to drink? Am I making a terrible mistake? Like, where are all my friends, my AA friends who just completely shun me? So there's a lot that goes on when all of a sudden you realize your worldview is bullshit and you're like, or bullshit, and you're realizing like, oh my God, well, who am I? If alcoholic is just an idea and it's not a reality, and if my primary purpose isn't to help alcoholics, then what is my purpose? Who am I? And all the emotional dysregulation for some of us, it can feel like a trauma to leave. It can be very, very difficult to leave AA. The whole you can leave at any time thing, not when you think you're going to die if you leave, not when you keep telling me I'm going to die if I leave. So if you keep telling me I'm going to die if I leave, and then you say you can leave at any time, can you really leave? I mean, sure, you can walk out or roll out or cruise out of the meeting, but not if you believe that it's true. So it becomes this big mindfuckery. So this other part, people, you probably think the hiking club in your neighborhood is a cult too. You know, I've never been to a hiking club that told me I was going to die if I don't go to the hiking club. I've never been to a hiking club that told me that I had a fatal progressive disease. I've never been to a hiking club that told me I had a physical allergy, a mental obsession, a spiritual malady. Literally, this never happened in a hiking club. A hiking club never told me I needed to get in the middle of the boat. It never told me I needed to have a sponsor. It never told me that I couldn't trust my own thinking. Hello? If that's not abuse, I don't know what is. You can't trust your own thinking. If the red flag is not waving, I don't know what you're even thinking. Maybe you're not thinking for yourself, you're group thinking. So when we're group thinking, or when we're doing what our sponsor says, yeah, we aren't actually thinking. I didn't realize that I had my critical thinking had been disabled when I was inside AA ideology. So no, hiking clubs generally are not cults, but if they meet the cult criteria, then yeah, sure, any group could be a cult, because there's safe groups, there's high control groups, and then there's cults. It's like a spectrum, and there's a checklist, and the checklist, it's not like there's one universal one, but there's different checklists from different officials. I like the ICSA checklist, and I went through that, the 15-point checklist, and I compared AA to it, and for me, it checked every box. So I'm like, yeah. Obviously, a lot of us know AA is a cult, but AA tells us it's not a cult, although they also say you need the brainwashing. So my question for you is, okay, so if you needed the brainwashing and you're one of the ones who was told you needed the brainwashing and now you're leaving, the question is, what do I do now that my brain's been washed? How do we get rid of the brainwashing? And the answer, I feel, is by speaking the truth, sharing our stories, deconstructing the ideology. So while someone might call it bashing the ideology, it's deconstruction, and it's vital work for those of us who want to get free. Let me know what you think in the comments.